So I got myself some quick jacks. Quick jacks are awesome, and I've always wanted some because I work on cars fairly often. And jacking up cars with a jack and jack stands is a pain in the butt and less safe than this. So got some of them, and now I'm going to use them practically. My Chevy Bolt here. Electric cars are awesome, especially with gas prices right now. I need to rotate the tires. I just hit 10,000 miles. You're supposed to do it at 7,500. Yeah, whatever. So I'm going to do that instead of going somewhere and doing it. I can do it here, especially now that I can jack the whole car up on all fours up in the air. That's going to make it super easy. I got these pinch weld adapters. I've already used them on the Miata once, and they're worth their weight in gold, because I used the stock blocks that they have and on the pinch welds, and it was working fine, but you could see how it was crushing the block right in the middle. And I've seen online how some people say that the regular blocks, if you use them on pinch welds, can split. This is a lot harder of a material, so this should work well on cars like this that pretty much don't have lift points and only use pinch welds. Alright, I got the quick jacks roughly in place. I do have to square them up perfectly, but I'm going to lift it up a little bit, make sure the blocks are aligned properly, and throw up in the air. We're in the air. So I'm not going to lift it all the way up. I literally am just rotating the tires. So actually, you know what? Screw it. We're going to lift it all the way up. I want to see what it looks like. The curb weight on this car is, I think, 3,700 pounds or so. This is a 5,000 pound lift, so it's plenty fine. See this go all the way up? Got it over there too. Alrighty, we are good. We are in the air. Should have accounted for where the car was parked, but I literally just have to get the tires off. I'm gonna rotate them the right way. Front tires go to the back, rear tires go across to the front. Should be easy. While I'm in here, I'll probably look around at the suspension and the brakes, make sure everything's fine. But this is a new car, so it should be fine. I've only had it for a year, and most of that, pretty much all of that's local city driving electric, so it really just uses mostly regenerative braking for actual braking. So the pads and calipers and rotors are all really not used all that much. So really, tire rotations are like the only maintenance on these cars for the first, like, what, 10 years? That's the best part about them. There is coolant for the batteries, but it doesn't get nearly as hot as a normal engine coolant, so it really doesn't have to be changed all that often. So anyway, I'm gonna go take the tires off. There's basically no brake dust at all. I mean, this is also the rear tire, so it doesn't use much brakes anyway, but especially on an electric vehicle with regen braking, really no brake dust. If you've ever wondered what the rotor and caliper and suspension on the rear of a 2021 Chevy Bolt looks like, there you go. I've actually not had this off yet, so pretty interesting, pretty expected, nothing fancy. Basically brand new rotors. I don't know if these have even been used. I'm pretty gentle with the car. I use the acceleration because electric acceleration is just amazing, but I don't slam on the brakes or anything. Even on the front, basically no brake dust. There's the front suspension and rotor and everything. You know, still basically not used at all. A bunch of brake pad left. I've seen apparently these the brake pads on these can last like 100,000 miles, since most of your braking is regen braking. So it's pretty interesting. The drive shaft in there, there's a big ass electric motor in there, 200 horsepower, 266 foot-pounds of torque. Just basic average suspension, nothing fancy. Interesting. I was going to clean under here if it needed it, but it really doesn't. So this is the rear tire that I took off. The rear driver's side is now going on the front passenger side. And I'll do the same with everything else. Remember, front's to the back, back's across to the front. No, I'm not torquing it down. I know. Getting it started slowly. Just getting it snug enough to not fall off. I'll torque that down with a torque wrench once I put the car back on the ground. I'm not really the kind of person that's super like, I need my car to be super amazing and perfect and make sure the lug nuts don't have any sort of dents in them. Cars are a utility. I don't go out of my way to make sure everything is amazing, but I don't try to break anything. I do need to clean these wheels, but that's about the only thing I need to do. Now this front tire, come off and go to the rear. The other one comes around. If your OCD is like, you need to take the top one out last, I did. Luckily these are supposed to be like efficiency tires because it's an electric vehicle. They're not very grippy, but they're also not very heavy. Grip is what you're looking for. These are not the droids you're looking for. These things have no grip 90% of the time. Should be good efficiency with them. For those of you wondering, I've had this just over a year now, about 13 months, and I've driven a little over 10,000 miles, and my average efficiency is about 4.2 miles per kilowatt hour, I guess. 66 kilowatt hour battery. You can do the math on it. It's pretty good. Even with the reduced charging state, because this battery's under recall and all that stuff, there hasn't been issues with this model year, but you know, the batteries are under recall. All right, I charge 80% and I don't go under 70 miles of range. And that's plenty for me because I got a charger right here. I can literally just charge it when I get home and it's fully charged every day. So it doesn't matter what the tank range is because I don't travel or anything. If you're the kind of person who travels a lot, electric vehicles, the infrastructure is not quite there yet. It's getting there. And even then, like, Teslas are totally fine, but they have their own charging network. But when you're anything non-Tesla, the infrastructure is just not quite there for charging. You can be done, but it's not as convenient as people want it to be yet. So, you know, if you're just patient, and eventually that infrastructure will be there, and it'll be awesome. I tell you what, I'm really glad I'm not paying $5 a gallon for gas. I mean, I do have the Miata, but I haven't filled it up in quite a while. I think I only filled it up twice last year since I got this car. I'm really not driving it all that often, partially because this car is just, you know, awesome. Partially because the Miata is in the garage and taking it out of the garage is slightly more inconvenient than just grabbing this thing because it takes 93, and 93 is expensive. If anyone ever tells you to move to Florida, don't, because for one, there's too many people here. For two, it's hot. It's like 10:30 in the morning and it's like 90 degrees out. And I'm in the shade and I'm just sweating like a dog that just got out of water. Anyway, so all the tires are on there. They're not torqued, but they're on. They're one ugga-dugga tight. I'm going to lower the jacks down to where the tires are touching. That way I can get a torque wrench on them, torque everything up. Should be good to go. I don't know if there's any procedure for the tire pressure monitoring system for like recalibrating them. I gotta look that up. I don't know if it just auto detects and it's fine, or if I have to do anything funny with it, but I'll see. Alright, so according to the manual, and by manual I mean the first forum post that I could find after doing a quick Google search, the torque spec on these is 100 foot-pounds. Also, who needs a $1,200 snap-on torque wrench when you have a $49 Craftsman one? Actually, these are like $100 and I got it for $50 at work on a clearance or something. So, hey, it's better than the $10 Harbor Freight one that I used for years. Well, we know how much people love super fast torque compilations, so here we go. Alrighty. Now, of course, I do prefer to go to like Discount Tire and have them do this, mainly because they can balance the tires, but this car's so new that the tires are fine. I also didn't buy the tires there, so they charge you for it, whereas if you buy the tires from them, which is that's where I go when I need to get tires, then they'll do it for free, which is cool. But I'm not going to pay $50, so doing this yourself is awesome. Well, now I can lower it all the way, pull the jacks out, move the car. We're good to go. Down button for a couple more seconds to make sure it's all out of the system, no more pressure. We should be good.